Hello, this is the Watchdog. Welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to do a comparison. We're going to take a G-Shock GA2100, also known as the Casio Oak, and compare it to the Activa ACW423 and the SKMEI 2243, which both of these watches were inspired by the G-Shock. Let's start out the wrist check. I'm wearing this Islander Red October V2. And Gregor's were my Doxa Sub 300 Shark Hunter. Gregor said Master Yoda's Force Ghost is upset. He was on Jedi Jeopardy the other day, and they kept on disqualifying his answers because instead of starting his answers in the form of a question, he kept on ending his answers in the form of a question. A stupid rule it is, said he. So first of all, let's go over the price. Okay, this Activa cost $12.90 when I purchased it. So this is the most affordable of the three. The G-Shock was retailing for $100 when I bought it, but I was at the Wind Up Watch Fair in Chicago, and so they had a 10% show discount, so I paid $90 for it plus tax. And the SKMEI cost $14.63 from AliExpress. The dimensions are fairly similar. The G-Shock is 41 millimeters at the bezel, 45 millimeters ear to ear. The Activa is 41 millimeters at the bezel, 46 millimeters ear to ear. And the SKMEI is 42 millimeters at the bezel, 44.5 ear to ear. Then when it comes to lug, the G-Shock is 47.5. The Activa is 48.5. And the SKMEI is 53.6. Because the SKMEI has this Royal Oak offshore design of its case, which is quite a bit different than the other two. When it comes to thickness, there's a big difference. The G-Shock is incredibly thin for a watch of this style. It's only 11.8 millimeters thick, which is really thin for a 200-meter watch. The Activa, on the other hand, is really thick, 16 millimeters, and it has this really thick case back, which adds to it. And the SKMEI is 13.3, so the SKMEI is not bad. Then also, when it comes to lug width, the G-Shock is 16 millimeters, and it has a quick release strap, so that's a big deal there. The Activa is 16 millimeters also, but does not have quick release. But I imagine the straps would be compatible. And the SKMEI, though, this is a Royal Oak offshore style, so it's totally different. And when it comes to weight, the G-Shock's 52 grams. The Activa is the lightest of the bunch, 46 grams. And the SKMEI is 76 grams. Okay, we're going to go over the features of the G-Shock. And the features of the G-Shock, the SKMEI are identical to the G-Shock. So everything you can do with the G-Shock, you can do with the SKMEI. That is not the case with the Activa. So we'll go over the Activa after I go over the G-Shock. Here we are in basic time mode. And as you can see, there's a daylight savings flag. So we are at 2:48 daylight savings time, and we got this subdial here points to the day of the week, which is Saturday. Press this button here, and it gives you the day and the month and the day of the month. Then press this button here. It shows you what your time zone is, and I'm in Chicago because this is a world time watch. Hit the mode button. Then it gives you world time mode, and you can switch time zones. Switching time zones does not affect the hands. It only affects the time on the digital display. And we are in the Los Angeles time zone now, which is 2 hours before Chicago, which is my home time zone. Press this button and it shows you what the time zone is. And as you can see, its daylight savings flag is set. For each time zone, you can individually set daylight savings or not. To do so, you just hold down this button. And now I just turned it off. So it'll be 1 hour earlier than it was because the daylight savings is off now. As you can see, it's 11:49. Then I can turn it back on for 12:49. Hit the mode button again and you're in stopwatch mode. We all know how to use the stopwatch. Hit it again, you're in timer mode. Hit it again, you're in alarm mode. Then you're back to time. And once again, the SKMEI is identical. The Activa, on the other hand, is quite different. You don't have world time. You do have a little digital display of the Earth, but that's completely decorative. So here we are in regular time mode, and the hands are not synchronized. This reset button is not a reset button at all. This reset button actually moves the analog hands. And that's how you set the analog hands. It's completely independent of the digital display. And this little subdial here with the Earth there is completely useless, completely decorative. All these little symbols there are pointless. Hit mode again, and you have the day of the month. You have the month and the day of the month and the day of the week. And this is not a perpetual calendar, so you have to set all three independently. Then you have the alarm. And then you have the second time. So the digital display here has 2 different times. And since the hands are independent, you can actually track 3 different times on this watch, where the other ones you can only do 2. There's the stopwatch. Then you're back to regular time. When it comes to the case backs, the G-Shock is nice and flat. So the case back doesn't add any thickness to the watch, which is why it's the thinnest of the bunch. And you get 200 meters of water resistance with this one. The Activa, on the other hand, the case back's really thick, which adds to the thickness of the watch. And you only get 30 meters from this watch. And the SKMEI, the case back's pretty good. It's nice and thin, doesn't really add thickness to the watch. And you get 50 meters from this watch. Then when it comes to the straps, the Activa and the G-Shock are resin, and they're about the same. There's a little cosmetic difference. This one has a little indent here, where this one does not. Plus this one has breathing notches on the 12 o'clock side. This one does not. Buckles are about identical. Keepers about identical. And once again, though, you get quick release here. But the quick release isn't as quick as you might think, because you can't grab it with your fingernail. You're going to still have to use a tool. And so this one, obviously, you don't get quick release, but these straps should be compatible. They're about the same size, and it's the same lug width. This one, the strap is silicone, but it's a fairly good silicone. It's kind of slick, but it's not too soft. And you get 2 keepers here, and one's actually fixed because it's got the little nibs there to fix it. And the buckle's a little bit thicker. But this is Royal Oak offshore style. So, and I'm not sure if you can find an aftermarket strap that's gonna fit a Royal Oak that will fit this or not. I don't have any with me right now. Here we are in the Lume Room. All three of these watches have backlights, so Lume isn't exactly necessary, but it is nice to be able to look down at a watch and see the hands without pushing any buttons. At first, I thought the Activa had Lume indices, but you'll soon see that is not the case. As we see up the time, we see that only the hands are lumed on all three watches, and each has a green colored glow. The Activa is by far the weakest and fading very fast. The SKMEI has about 2/3 the strength of the Casio, but not bad considering the price difference. The G-Shock, though, is the clear winner. Here's the G-Shock's backlight, and as you can see, it's more than just a backlight to light up the digital display. It lights up the whole entire dial. My camera makes it look a little bit brighter than it is, but you can see the digital display and the dial, no problem with this backlight. And here's the Activa. As you can see, the light's at the 6, and it does a good job too of lighting up the whole dial and not just the digital display. So this one's a pretty good backlight also. The digital display though isn't quite as lit up as the G-Shock. And here's the SKMEI. The SKMEI unfortunately is a little bit too bright because when you try to look at the digital display, it's really hard to read when you're using the backlight. And once again though, it does do a good job of lighting up the dial. What do I like about the Activa? Well, it has a positive display. I like that better than the G-Shock's negative display. It's the most affordable of the three. The backlight is better than the SKMEI, but not quite as good as the G-Shock. And since it has dual time of the digital display plus independent hands, that means you can track 3 different times. What are the drawbacks? It has the weakest lume of the bunch. It's by far the thickest watch of the bunch. The hands are not synchronized. There's no perpetual calendar or world time or daylight savings flag. This subdial is just completely decorative. And this reset button doesn't reset, it's mislabeled. It actually moves the hands. What do I like about the SKMEI? The movement does everything that the G-Shock does. There's nothing the G-Shock movement does that this one does not. I like this metal case and bezel. I like the fact that it has a positive display. And I didn't mention this before, but the pushers are by far the easiest to use of the 3 different watches. What are the drawbacks? It has the worst backlight of the bunch. It's so bright that it makes it really hard to read the digital display. It's the heaviest watch, of course, but then again, it's metal. And this silicone strap is nice, but it can be a real dust and hair magnet because it's silicone. What's good about the G-Shock? It's by far the thinnest watch of the 3. It has the most water resistance. You got 200 meters. And it's got the most shock resistance because it's a G-Shock. And it does have a quick release strap, where the other 2 do not. What are the drawbacks? It's by far the most expensive. It's a good $100. So you could buy a whole bunch of the other watches for the price of this. And it has a negative display, so it's really hard to read. All right, there you have it. 3 watches, and they're all pretty good. I don't know if I would recommend the Activa just because of the thickness. But the SKMEI isn't a bad watch at all, considering the price difference between the G-Shock. So I would recommend the SKMEI, and of course I recommend the G-Shock. The G-Shock's a good watch. Well, thank you for watching my comparison video, and I'll be back with a review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like the SKMEI, I'll leave you an affiliate link. And if you like the G-Shock or the Activa, I'll leave links there too, but they're not affiliate links. And I'd like to thank my Members' Choice members. The current Members' Choice vote is closed and the watch is on the way. And it's the Addie's Dive. And remember, only members get to see the unboxing of the Addie's Dive, but everybody gets to see the review, but members get a week-long head start. Bye.